God is everything. God is all in all. God is so divine. Everlasting light. The sun that shines, the stars at night, and so much more, so much more, so much more. Every breath, every breath, every move, every move. Every tree, every bird, every sound and every word. The moon in the sky and the mountains up high, and you and I, you and I, you and I. I give God thanks for all my days. I'm glad for this time. I give God praise. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. I give God praise. 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 God is everything. God is all in all. God is so divine. Everlasting light. The sun that shines, the stars at night, and so much more, so much more, so much more.
One of my favorite songs. I have that CD in my car, and when I want to get centered, I play that. And it's also available. You have it available, don't you, Stephan? There'll be information on the chat on how to get Stephan's music because it's always superb. I give God praise. Someone sent me a video of a gentleman, a fellow clergy person. I'd say probably Episcopalian. I didn't pay that much attention. But he was all dressed up. You know how the Episcopalians can look so official and beautiful in those robes and those colors. And And he was in a big cathedral. People were spaced out, but he said that 2020 was like the story of Job. One calamity after another. One thing you think is you've had enough, and then another one happens, and he said the moral of the story is that Job was an outstanding, righteous, moral, God-loving man, and yet stuff still happened. See, the moral of that story really is that God doesn't punish. It's just some things happen. Sometimes they are the effect of our own actions. If I accidentally set a fire to my house, it's not God's fault. God may give me the wisdom to put out the fire immediately, but some of the things that happen just happen. Some things are human caused and some things aren't, but things happen. But the secret, the essence of that story is that even in the midst of the calamity and the conversation about the calamity, because that's what we do, human beings love to talk about it, don't they? We love to analyze. And sure enough, chapter after chapter, there's the analyzing of what Job did. No, I didn't. And am I guilty? Am I sinful? Are you sinful? What did you do wrong? God wouldn't let this happen unless you'd done something. Our version of it is what's in your consciousness and how did you cause that? And that's just so much hokey pokey weirdness. First of all, unless you really want to let the Holy Spirit lead you in that conversation so that you can go into that conversation as an innocent, seeing how you could learn, don't go into that conversation. Because sometimes stuff just happens. But the essence of it is that even in what was happening and the conversation about it, God was there, ready to lift Job out of that experience, ready to remind Job that God had always been present. And when Job could realize that, God restored him and restores us, both spiritually, mentally, and physically, and also and sometimes financially. And Job, it was financial. It didn't talk about money, but it sure talked about cattle and sheep and goats and camels, and that was financial then. Luckily, we have money, because otherwise we would have to be taking our goats and our sheep and our camels with us everywhere, and that would be messy, to say the least. Job needed to turn to that which is holy and surrender to, I give God praise, for God is all there is. And then things could be restored. But oftentimes, human beings look outside and wonder where God is. The song that she sang wasn't, I wonder where God is. It was, God is all there is. And that's my mission. My mission through these times, through 2020, is to remind myself and to remind those I care about, which is you, that God is still all there is, and that stuff can go on and we can still manage to overcome the obstacles that we're faced with. And the stuff that we are affected by. I want to help people hear the voice of God in the midst of the tornado of circumstances, because God showed up as a tornado. And some things, when things are whirling around us, there's still that small voice, that voice of that voice of comfort and empowerment. It's still available. And I want us to hear that together. And I look for ways to not only share my ideas and my thoughts, but also to support your own individual study. Because really, it's like we don't spend enough time together. Sunday's not going to do it. You really need to do your own spiritual practice. I'm teaching 2 classes now. I'm teaching 3 classes right now. And in all of them, we meet together for a short period of time, but it's what happens in between that time that we meet where the growth happens. I call it the holy gap. Idea, work on the idea, which leads to a new idea. And so I would love for you to consider filling the holy gap of the week with a book that I'm reading, which is The Prosperous Heart by Julia Cameron. And so those of you that have read or know or just know about The Artist's Way, that was done by Julia Cameron, and she's got ideas on how to create a life of enough, which has inspired me for this series, our fall series on Together We Thrive. And to thrive means that we are growing, we are experiencing, we are expressing, we are creating, and we are flourishing enough that we make life better for others. A flourishing tree produces enough that it makes life better for others. A flourishing garden is a garden that produces enough for many others. A life that flourishes makes life better for others. So the series is on thriving, and the book that I encourage you to get is The Prosperous Heart. Also on Friday, we sent out a link so that you could buy this book, and if you buy it through Amazon, we get a small, tiny little percentage, like 0.5% or something. So it's not a lot, but everything counts right now. And in this, Julia Cameron offers 5 tools that she'd like you to use. I'm only going to mention 2 today. The first one is morning pages. And if you've done anything with Julia Cameron, that's morning pages or journaling. Journaling helps you go below the surface thought, helps you go below the surface condition, the surface angst, the surface hope. It's a gold mine for understanding yourself. And in the Gospel according to Thomas, second verse, I don't have it down. I didn't look it up. I could have looked it up in between my gap time in between services. But in this, Thomas says, come to understand yourself, and if you come to understand yourself, you will understand yourself as one with God. But we don't understand ourselves. We are always reacting to the outer world instead of really going deeply, and that's what the journaling is all about. That's what Morning Pages is about. The other thing that she suggests is time out. That sounds like a punishment to me because that's what my mother would do. Time out. But no, she means it differently. She meant it as time to consciously count your blessings, to give God praise. She didn't say that. But wow, look at what this is. Look at this, how wonderful. Oh, to count the blessings, to bless what you're counting, to give God praise. She just said, be consistently conscious of how your life is blessed. And it's only 5 minutes in the morning and in the evening. I'm noticing that how I set my morning truly makes a difference for the whole day. One of my teaching assistants shared last week that her job, she was having a bad day. How many of you have had a bad day? If I had people in this room, there'd be a bunch of people raising their hands because it's normal to have a bad day. But she got up the next morning and decided that she was going to have a good day, that no matter what happened, it was going to be a good day. And she said she got 2 assignments that were so fun and so wonderful that she couldn't even have picked them out. They were so much better than she would have even wanted to do, and perhaps it's because she decided that she was going to have a good day. How you set your mind in the morning makes a huge difference to the way that you walk through life that day. In this book, The Prosperous Heart, she has 3 ideas she wants us to tackle, and I'm going to try to tackle 3 ideas very quickly. And I want to say that there's so much more because you've got this wonderful book. not only get the book and study it, you might want to get your family involved, your significant other. You might have some friends, even not in the, even across the country or the world. What's so wonderful now is that friendships, since we can't get together anyway, who cares where they are? You might want to share this with some friends. Do the practices together. But she wants us to tackle 3 ideas, and they are fabulous ideas. And I want to share them with you. The first one is the money myth. She wants to tackle, I want to tackle, and really you want to tackle the money myth. The money myth says that money will bring us happiness, security, power, contentment, and honestly, we all know that's false. Oh, yeah. There's a part of you that said, well, just a little more money would be nice. But if you're watching this, by now, you're spiritually mature enough, you're emotionally mature enough to know that money doesn't buy any of the things that the soul and the personality really want. We want to be happy. We want to feel secure. We want connection. We want to be known and appreciated. We want to feel accomplished. And yet money can't buy that. If money could buy that, rich people would never commit suicide, and they do. Rich people would never be depressed, and they are. Rich people would never wonder what it's all about, and they do. And we know plenty of people who don't have a lot in the bank but have so much in their heart that their life is full. They're satisfied. They're content. They're creative. They're expressive. They're contributing. Money is like so many other things in the world. Money is neutral. Money's just neutral. It's like fire. I have a friend who came and got firewood from us because her house is heated with a stove. No stove, no wood, no fire. And then no heat. Fire is wonderful for her. Fire is awful when it's out of control. Wind is beautiful. It comes in and it blows away the smoke. It's neutral. But man, if it gets too carried away, too much of it, it's destructive. Water, rain is lovely. We feel it. It just cleanses the air and moistens the soil. Things grow. Too much water, we get floods. See, it's neutral. Water's neutral. Fire's neutral. Wind is neutral. Money's neutral. And it can be either productive or destructive based on the condition and how we relate to it. How we relate to it. It's how we use it that makes a difference. How we use money will make a difference. So in this series, these next few weeks, I'd like you to be curious. How can money that's neutral, how can I use it in such a way that it's beneficial? Now notice that you use it, you're not used by it. See, people who need it are used by it. Anytime you need something, it has you and you don't have it. Just take a moment. And imagine that you could see money as it is, just a thing. To pick up, to use, to be blessed by, to bless with. It's like food. Food's neutral. You take it, you use it, you're blessed by it. And because you're strong and you're healthy, you can bless others. It's like all of the things around us, it's just something for us to use in a mature and conscious way. She goes on to say, after we've seen money as it really is, it's just a neutral thing, she goes on to say that we need to cultivate the consciousness of enough. Cultivate the consciousness of enough. Now we're getting down to consciousness. This is the playground that I like to play in. This is what she has to say about the consciousness of enough. The opposite of prosperity is not poverty, it's anxiety. When we are possessed of a prosperous heart, we do not act rashly out of anxiety. Taking our time, we respond to life rather than merely reacting to it. We respond, not react. I love that. Doing so, we find our lives are filled with choices. With these choices comes opportunity. Taking the time to discover it, we find that even apparent adversity has a silver lining. In the Bible, it's said this way: to those who have, more is given. And to those who have not, even that is taken away. And that seems so cruel. That people that have nothing, that's taken away. But really, this was a metaphor, just like the wine and the wineskins was a metaphor. It was a metaphor for your consciousness. If you have it in consciousness, you'll have it in the outside. And the more you develop your consciousness, the more you'll have developed on the outside. I've changed the talk in between services, so I can't read my notes anymore. So what we want to do then is to develop a consciousness of having, to appreciate what we have and pay attention to it, and to build something that metaphysicians have called a mental equivalence. Actually, I'm going to do a plug right now because I'm going to teach a class on building your mental equivalence by the end of this month. But it can happen simply by paying attention to when you have it, pay attention to when you have it, pay attention to when you have it, pay attention to when you have it. I want to talk about our prayer practitioner today, Joy Abby Adams, because she is a builder. And I would be done. I've looked at all the things that she's built on her properties, and I'm thinking I'd be done. But in her, she's a builder. She finds more places to build, more ways to build, expansions, extensions, and because it's in her to have the opportunity and the means to do it, she always has the opportunity and the means to do it. I mean, she's amazing the way that she's used these principles to develop beautiful places that bless others. When I first started dating my husband, he was a little trepidatious about something we were thinking about. We were thinking about getting married, and he had trepidation about what we might be spending. And I said, Tim, I'm a wealthy woman. Now, at the time, it wasn't that my bank account was wealthy. I didn't have a lot. But I was wealthy in that I realized that if I wanted it, there would be something that would support me in having it. I had the consciousness that God had my back. I had the consciousness that if I wanted to express in a greater way, just like you've been expressing and expressing and expressing and expressing, like every time I talk to Joyce, like, you did what? But when I have that consciousness, I knew that Spirit would support us. And it has all of these years. Now, here's the thing about having, this whole thing about mental equivalence. Sometimes you can run into a barrier. Like you grow and you grow and you grow, and sometimes the personality goes, I don't know if I can go any farther. I've accepted so much. I probably have accepted too much. And I'm having that experience right now. There's something that I want to get into, another way that I want to express, and I've noticed that the block I have into moving forward, I'm calling it money. I'm calling it money because I know that it would take a financial obligation month after month after month, and I don't know if I want to move into that financial obligation. And my mind, part of my mind is looking at our Quicken and our ins and outs of money, and I'm going, I don't know where I'd get the money. And then there's another part of me that said, every time you've wanted something and made a commitment, the money showed up. See, too many people wait for the money to show up before they dream. Dream, commit, and then the money shows up. Doesn't it, Joy Abby Adams? Yes, she just said, yes, it does. And so I realized that it's not about money. It's about, am I willing to stretch that much? It's not money. It's not God. It's, am I willing to stretch? Am I really willing to create a new normal? Am I willing to have the consciousness of I have enough, I'll have enough? This isn't about going into debt. It's not about giving up the stuff that I already have. I'm not going to give up my tithing. I'm not going to give up my charitable giving. I'm not going to give up food. I have given up clothes. So what else is there? Oh, travel. Anyway, it's something to think about. Eric Butterworth said, prosperity is not having things, it's the consciousness that attracts things. So we're in this journey together. I'm curious. I'm journaling. I'm doing my morning pages. I'm looking at what is my real block because it's never money. Number 3, the third idea that she wants us to move into and really explore. See, we're exploring all of these ideas. I'm just not throwing them out there, and I want you to take them for granted because Kathianne said it, because that can get people in trouble. I want you to explore them, to do your own journaling, to do your own soul splunking, to look inside and see what you really believe and how deeply you believe it. The third thing she wants us to do is to trust in a benevolent universe. See, this is harder than you think. I mean, I could say that and you go, yeah, I got to do that. Well, I want to tell you, we are hardwired to be pessimistic. It is in our spiritual, mental, and physical DNA to be pessimistic. So all of you that are pessimistic, you are doing the right thing. Because human beings survived because they were pessimistic. In our ancient ancestors, the ancient ones that were hunter-gatherers, when they heard a noise and the one that said, oh, it's probably nothing, they didn't survive. Our ancient ancestors that heard a noise and picked up a club or a stick or a spear or a rock, they survived. It's okay to be pessimistic. But we've come to the place where we are evolving into our spiritual essence and living from there, and that means that we have choice, that we can be awake to our predisposition to be pessimistic and aware that we can have a relationship with God and then choose to follow the heavenly path, the path of faith, instead of the path of fear. We, in this, you who are watching, we are at the place where we can choose our faith over our fear. We can choose that and live from that. And that's powerful. And we have faith in a benevolent universe. And what we do is we move into it slowly to the degree that we can. I don't know who said it, and it's so cliche, but inch by inch, life's a cinch. And why? I hope I get that out of my mind really quickly. Else I'll be saying it all the time. But really, just move out, let the universe support you. Move out, let the universe support you. Slowly, we are building our mental equivalence that God will always have our back, and we grow in our experience of life. And when we do so, we allow the universe to inform us of what we can do, not only to experience a greater life, but to create a greater life for other people. I want to give you 2 examples. There's a gentleman that in our center that started a new process, not this summer, but last summer, when we could meet. Remember that? Remember when we saw people's faces? The whole space? That was wild. Now everybody looks like a bandit. But this gentleman was in my money mastery class, and I I asked them to just start saving for those things that they wanted. And his response was, I don't have any. I said, it doesn't take much. See, he was waiting for a lot of money to start saving. I need a big bundle. I need a large amount of money, and then I'll save it. I said, no, just start saving what you've got. You have enough consciousness. So he started saving little bits. And then he found that he had more bits to save. And now he has more, and now he has more. He was stretched to save $5 a week, and now he saves $150 a week. And in a year, he has accumulated $5,000. And he said, for the first time, I was able to pay cash for my tires when I needed them. He's going to get out of debt because he's not charging and debting. He started to believe, and he's continuing to believe, and he's proving to himself that the universe is in a conspiracy for his benefit. When people realize that they can be a part of a universal idea and that the universe has their back, they will try new products. They'll be experimenting. A company, a Seattle startup, experimented with bamboo toilet paper. And now, what's so wonderful is that a lot of the other bamboo toilet paper businesses couldn't keep up. And they're still providing bamboo toilet paper. Now, why would you want bamboo toilet paper? Well, because I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a climate issue. And a lot of it has to do with the elimination of trees. And 20% of trees are taken down to produce paper. So if we could eliminate the need for trees to produce toilet paper and paper towels, that would start the reclamation of our planet by us being able to plant trees for something other than being chopped down for paper. So what a wonderful service that they're giving. But what I loved it is that they really had to take a risk. It was a big investment. And they did. And we're being blessed because of that. The universe has their back. I want to just read a tiny bit more from our wonderful Julia Cameron. She's a nice writer. I love it. The prosperous heart does not worship money. The prosperous heart is not needy. The prosperous heart asks for and receives the blessing of wisdom. Rather than act with fear-driven, short-sighted urgency, we take the long view, knowing that God is working out the events in our favor. Exercising a gentle vigilance, we do not take the superficial view that invites us to proclaim catastrophe. Yeah, I know what that's like. The sky is falling, and yet, we're okay. There was a time when we could not have people here, and I thought, how will we exist when there's no one here? And that was the bulk of where our money came from. And yet, because of you and so many of you, money has still continued to flow through. And I think it's because myself and the Board of Trustees and our wonderful prayer practitioners and much of the staff has a consciousness of we'll always have enough because God's got our back. Let's take a deep breath. Lots more to say. For those of you that are getting my evening calls, I was going to say Sunday evening calls, but no, they're every evening. My thoughts to sleep on calls. There'll be more about the Prosperous Heart in those calls. If you're not getting those calls, they're free, and you can sign up. Just let your desire be known at info@spiritualliving.org. And we'll put you on our list. I want to go back to the idea of counting blessings. For many of you, you would count your pet or pets as a blessing. An animal family is among the blessings that we get to enjoy. One of the things about an A developed civilization is that they got to have pets. When people are just barely in survival, it's very hard to have a pet. And yet a pet gives back so much. We are so privileged that we could even have them. And what I found out is that so many people are staying home because of the COVID environment and culture that a lot of pets are being adopted. That's a good thing, a blessing out of this COVID thing. So I'd love for you to gather your pets around. Yay, cats and birds are welcome to the blessing this year. Heather Lane McCants and her family, they have a lizard named Jelly. So Jelly might be on somebody's shoulder right now. Animals can feel our moods and react to our feelings. So if we've been anxious, it has affected our beloved pets. If we've been moody, it has affected our beloved pets. That's why horses are sometimes used for therapy, and especially with people with PTSD. They can absorb the feelings and then mirror it back to the person so that they can make adjustments. It's like a horsey biofeedback machine. Animals act out based on us, or not. So as much as they've been taking from us and absorbing our moods, let's shift and bless them and give thanks. Give thanks that they've been there with us through so much. And the more we take care of ourselves, the more we're actually taking care of those around us, including our pets. Self-care is probably one of the best things you could do for your dog, your cat, your bird, your fish, and your lizard, and your snake. And I think I named them all. And once in a while, just do a blessing. Look at them. Like right now, if you have one on your lap or by your side or down on the floor, look at them. Look them in the eye. Except for dogs. Dogs don't like you to look in their eyes. I don't know why. Sophie didn't mind it. Finley, nuh-uh. But place your hands on them if you can. And then repeat after me. You are a beautiful creation of God. You are a perfect expression of divine life. I love you just the way you are. And forgive me when I failed to honor and care for you as much as I should have. And together, we'll grow in love. You will teach me and I will learn. And we will bless each other all the days of our life. And so it is.
I look up and I see God. I look down and see my dog. Simple spelling, G-O-D. Same word backward, D-O-G. They would stay with me all day. I'm the one who walks away, but both of them just wait for me and dance at my return with glee. Both love me no matter what. Divine God and canine mutt. I take it hard each time I fail, but God forgives, dog wags his tail. God thought up and made the dog. Dog reflects a part of God. I've seen love from both sides now. It's everywhere. Amen. Bow wow. I look up and I see God. I look down and see my dog. And in my human frailty, I can't match their love for me.